Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. My name is Ajay Khanna, and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at Explorium. Let's wait for maybe like a few more seconds, maybe a minute, and let other people also join in. I see people trickling in, and then we'll get started really soon. People who are just joining, my name is Ajay Khanna, and we're going to start in 30 seconds. All right, let's go and get started. Again, my name is Ajay Khanna, and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at Explorium. And welcome to today's session, Power Your BI and ML with External Data and Pain-Free. So that is the topic I wanted to discuss today. Just before we begin our session, some of the logistics thing. This webinar is being recorded, so it will be available for everyone after this session. And please enter your questions in Q&A section at the end of the session. We will take some of those question and answer questions, and based on the time that is left after the webinar. And also in this webinar, I have gathered information from multiple articles, research, and reports. So those are really interesting articles to kind of like read. So those links are there in the webinar, and we are going to share the slides as well. And then I would definitely encourage each and every one of you to go through those links and read those articles. And I will point those articles to you throughout this webinar. So let's go and get started. The external data, the myth, the mystery, and the misery. So at Explorium, we did a recent research, and the results were startling. We found out that 79% of US data leaders consider external data to be very valuable. But still, most of them really struggle to find the data that they need. So access was still a lot of had a lot of challenges across various industries and across the data leaders that we spoke with. And that is the kind of the topic that we really want to explore today, to see what are those challenges, what are the opportunities with the external data, and how we can address those. So before we do that, let's quickly look at what are the external data sources. So when we talk about external data, or when we talk about alternative data, what do we mean by that? So I pulled this one from a paper or an article by McKinsey and Company. And here are some samples of external data that you may want to include in your analytics or in your machine learning. It could include like geospatial data, footfall data for example, for restaurants, for home improvement stores. You may want to understand the revenues and headcounts of private businesses, or even consumer data, whether it is transactional data, census data, it could be weather data. So these are a lot of data sources out there where you want to kind of like access those and include those, incorporate those in your analytics. In the recent study by Deloitte, not very recent, 2019, but they did a survey, and 92% of data analytics professionals said that their companies needed to increase the use of external data sources. So the use of external data sources has been going up, and more companies want to kind of like incorporate these external data sources for better and deeper insights into their consumers, into the businesses, into the supply chains and the products. So let's look at the need. So the need for external data is evident. And again, pointing to some of the research that we went through, One is from MIT management, why external data should be a part of your data strategy. So the research says that incorporating external or third-party data is an important part of data analytics program. So links to the reports are here. I would highly encourage each and every one of you to look at these links when we share the copy of this presentation as well. So that's from MIT. And then McKinsey Digital published a report as well, harnessing the power of external data. So where they are highlighting that a well-structured plan for using external data can provide a competitive edge. And then in another Deloitte Insight article, they pointed out that outside data can bring a lot of opportunity, but using it effectively can be challenging. So there are still a lot of challenges around finding the data, accessing the data, and using and utilizing the data. Similarly, in a recent article by Gartner, they were listing down what are the barriers to AI implementations. And even in this research and survey, they found that data shows up prominently. So the barriers included data volume or data complexity, data scope, and data quality problems, as well as data accessibility challenges. So we know that need is there, but the pain is also real. So it is hard to make use of external data. And why is that? First of all, external data is hard to access. There are just too many sources out there. If you just go to, for example, data.gov, they have more than 280,000 data sources out there. And more importantly, you don't know what you are looking for. So that is the problem of unknown unknowns, right? We don't even know what data is out there, and we do not know that how that data is going to really impact my advanced analytics, how it is going to impact my ML models. So we really don't even know what we are looking for. And if we know what we are looking for, the procurement itself will take months. And we will have to go out and seek data vendors, do the negotiations, run the contracting. And then after that, that data will be ready to use. But is it ready to use? The usage part also is really difficult. So data is tedious to use because you cannot just kind of get the data and consume in your BI or ML. There is a lot of, you need to do the matching, you need to do the transformations, you need to cleanse the data, you need to find the gaps. So preparing the data for usage, that itself takes a lot of effort and time. So matching with internal data, the integrations, the harmonization, the organization of the data, that is quite painful. So, and that's the reason that using the data for any kind of analytical process will take a lot of time. And then the third is the risk associated with it. First of all, if you are going out there and acquiring data, it is not easy to determine the return on investment, right? What is the ROI of your data purchases? You may test a sample, but when you start using it, you may find the gaps. You may find the data is not current, and it is very hard to determine the ROI of the data before you actually start using it. And the data that is collected from public sources, that itself poses a compliance risk right now. We need to adhere with a lot of privacy regulations, whether it is GDPR, whether it is CCPA. So we need to do that. And then the data gets stale very quickly. And there could be signal losses, right? And we have seen during these COVID times, pandemic times, that there were some of the data sources that stopped becoming useful because the business changed, because the consuming pattern changed, the way and how consumers shop, that changed. So there can be signal loss, which will make your models, whether it is analytics or ML models, kind of useless to be used in that situation. So those are the things that make the data acquisition and utilization really complex. So at the end, you have to make do with either just internal data or very limited external data sets. So that's the pain, right? The pain is real, and the consequences are severe. So money and the time lost on external data uh, is a lot, right? So we are losing a lot of money as well as time, and without any real ROI. So another study that I mentioned before, which was done by Explorium in this March, we published early April. Uh, we found out that more than 80% of the respondents said that they are spending more than 100K a month, $100,000 a month on data acquisition. So that means like more than $1 million, $1.2 million are being spent every year on external data acquisition. So that is just the cost of getting the data. And the time spent, they are spending more than 20 hours. More than 90% of people are spending more than 20 hours a month on these external data acquisition activities, whether it is around data hunter jobs, acquisition, finding where to get the data from, sourcing the data. So a lot of time is being spent just on data acquisition part of it. And that is not all. Even after you get that data, we see that 80% of the time spent by data scientists, spent by the analytics folks is on data preparation. So that is another channel. Even after you spend all this time and money to get the data, you need to spend a lot more time for data preparation before it is ready to use. So the implication is that poor customer experience, you are not getting the right data to deliver that personalization or deliver that targeted experience that you wanted to deliver. As our businesses are going from in-store or in-person to digital channels, so that is kind of sluggish and slow. There is of course loss of revenue, loss of upsell and cross-sell opportunities, because we have lesser understanding about the businesses, about our customers, about the supply chains, and sluggish path to innovations. We all have really good ideas around artificial intelligence and machine learning, how to put them in use. But if the data is not there, and if the access to the data is tedious and slow, that slows the overall path to and time to innovation. And then the inefficiencies, right? As we are spending money on marketing, on our ads, on various campaigns, that is inefficient, and so is are the sales operation, how we are aligning our field operations and the field teams to the product, to the customers, to the territories. So if we do not have the right data, especially the right external data, those become inefficient as well. And not to mention the fraud risks, the credit risk, and the compliance risks that comes with when the access to the right data is not there. Things are changing continuously, right? So we recently saw that COVID-19 is changing the credit risk models, the models and the data that we use to determine credit worthiness of B2B businesses stopped working because the business models changed, the revenue models changed, the number of employees changed, the foot traffic changed. And we were talking more about like curbside deliveries. We were talking more about like doing business by door dashes and grub hubs. So all the models had to change, and the data that was internal was not sufficient anymore. And these things will keep happening, right? Loss of third-party cookies, Apple changing their transparency requirements with iOS 14.5, uh, and the people thinking, how are they going to change their digital strategy, and how AI and ML can help when there is a loss of these third-party cookies? What will happen if the whole idea around the credit scoring changes? So people have been kind of looking into all these things, and saying that, okay, how frequently they need to access and update the data that they get about their customers, about their products, about their suppliers. And now the data access in months and years is not sufficient anymore. People are updating their data on like daily and weekly basis. So the question is that how fast you can respond when the next change happens. Because if that change happens and then you start looking for the next data source or the new data source, it is kind of already too late. You do not have time to start sourcing the new data and then doing the negotiations and then doing the data cleaning and data preps, which will take 6 months before you start pivoting your business. You should be able to do it right away. You need that things have changed. You need the more and different data sources, different signals to make decisions. Why can't you have that access right now? So think of this opportunity. This is enormous, right? If you have access to all external data in one place, and then you can easily use that data. It is already aligned, matched, harmonized to be used in your BI and ML. And then you can assess the impact and ROI of that data, of those signals, before you deploy those into your production models. I mean, how wonderful would be that if you can have that access right away in the one unified single platform? You can accelerate your competitive advantage. You can build better customer experience, better personalizations, better upsell and cross-sell opportunities, quick execution of your big ideas, which you want to launch with your analytics, with your ML and AI initiatives, and as well as agility to respond to changes that we just talked about. That as soon as the situation change, if there is a one signal loss or the business environment changes, you can immediately go and search for new data signals and new features and quickly add it to your models and start building your business and start pivoting your business right away. And then increase in operational efficiencies. You can have efficient ad spends, efficient direct mail, and as well as field sales optimization. And then always the risk aspect of it. You can lower your credit risk. You can lower the risk of fraud or fraudulent loan applications. And there have been so many use cases where companies have been using external data for processing PPP loans. And then making sure that as you are bringing the data in, as you are interacting with your customers, you are GDPR and CCPA compliant. So that is really critical as well. So reimagine a simpler access to all the external data. So here are some of the steps that you need to think about when you are thinking about external data utilization. First is an easy access to all the external data sources. And then validation and matching, right? That what is the quality of this data? How are you going to do match this data with your internal data sets? How the identity resolution happens? How you're aligning all these new columns with the rows that you have in your existing data sets, and how quickly you can do that. So organizing the data is the next step, and then understanding the impact of each and every data signal on your ML models. What is the uplift you're getting on your ML models? What is the increase in AUCs that you're getting with your ML models if you incorporate a new feature, if you incorporate a new data signal? Then develop and deploy, right? You build and train your ML models, you select the best model that is working for you, and then you fine tune those models, you compare models, you deploy the model in production, and then generate better insights around explainability of those models. So all those things that you need to really put your ML into production should be available. And then ongoing monitoring and improvement of your models, as well as improvement in the data quality, as well as improvement or access to new data sources, new data signals that can always uh, uh, fuel your innovation and fuel the new ideas that you have, and you can bring those ideas to life. So this is what is delivered by an end-to-end automated external data platform. And this is what Explorium offers, this end-to-end external data platform, from data access to understanding the impact, to automatically matching, automatically doing the feature generation and selection, to the model development and delivery and those deployments. So let's jump into that. I know we have like maybe 10, 12 more minutes, and I will try to go over these slides fairly quickly, but it will give you an idea that how this platform, external data platform, can help you get there. So we'll start with quick access to all relevant data sources. So when you uh, enter the Explorium external data platform, you will see that you have access to data from hundreds and hundreds of premium, public, or proprietary sources, and you have access to more than 25,000 signals. And it is always increasing because we are always adding new signals and new data sources to the platform. And there is kind of like quality assurance aspect to it, and there is a relevance aspect to it. You get a system will tell you which data is relevant to your use case, and then it is compliant, right? So you have access to all that data from one single platform. So once you have access to all the data, you can include that data in your data sets. You can bring in your data and then say that I want to enrich this data with more signals. I have like SNB restaurant information and I want to add, for example, foot traffic data. I want to add data about reviews. I want to add data about their ratings. You can keep on enriching that data. So the system includes advanced search as well as recommendations about what are the data sources and the data signals that you can incorporate in your existing data sets. And then also capabilities around transformations. You want to do some mathematical calculations, whether it is sums or differences. You want to filter, you want to find date ranges and include that as part of your features or signals. You can do that as well. So transformation of the data, enrichment of the data is part of the same platform. Then you go to like a little bit more sophisticated use cases, right? Now you bring in your data, you have defined your target values you want to optimize for credit risk. Then system is automatically discovering the data sources that deliver the highest uplift. So that is really key here. So the automated feature generation and automated selection of those features and rating of those features, that how each of these features out of those thousands of features that we have selected from 25,000 plus signals, how are those features going to impact my model? And you can easily see that if I include these features for these models, I can get 10%, 5%, 8% uplift in my models. So that is the power of this integrated platform. And then once you optimize that, then you can take these models to your production as well. Quick insights. So you want to compare the models for measurements. You want to establish the value and importance of features and the data sets. You can do that. And you want to do SHAP analysis, understanding the values for model explainability. If you want to do that, what is the positive or negative impact of a particular feature on the data model? You can easily do that analysis as well before you take the models to production. And last but not least, the ease of use, right? How we can utilize that data into the production. So we provide a variety of deployment options where you can either export models, you can export features, you can export data and take it to maybe your BI or ML platforms. You want to take it to Google BigQuery, you want to take it to Snowflake, you want to take it to, for example, Tableau or Click, you can do that. As you are building your data sets, as you are building your enrichments and transformation, you can record that as a recipe, and then we provide API to access that recipe so that you can create a pipeline to your downstream system and seamlessly start consuming that data. So really making it easy and open to use this data uh, uh, in your downstream analytics or any kind of like ML data science platform as well. And then production monitoring. So we talked about that as well, continuously monitoring and improving. So identifying the data and the model drifts, finding the outdated data, the schema changes, you can do that. And then retrain the models to maintain that accuracy, to maintain those business outcomes that you are looking for from your models, from your advanced analytics. And then protect these models from degradation, right? So it is not one and done thing. So that is the beauty of this platform, right? You can continuously improve your models, you can continuously improve your analytics, but also you're continuously getting access to new data signals, to refresh data, to more data sources, so that you can do newer and more things and add more use cases to your repository for really effective data driven decision management. So that's what it is all about. There are a lot of use cases, right? And here I'm just kind of like bringing in some sample use cases that our customers across e-commerce, CPG, retail, insurance, or fintech, whether it is on the payment sides or on the lending side, have been using the platform for these kind of use cases. And these use cases kind of range from customer lifetime value. So how we can bring in like external data sources to get better understanding of customer lifetime value, or even like Facebook retargeting, uh, personalization, and e-commerce recommendations. That is a use case. And then use cases around lending risk, especially in SNB lending, right? So what is the additional data that we can bring in for these lenders to make better decisions about lending, better decision around that credit risk, especially in the pandemic times, right? When as we discussed, the normal models and the internal only data or the historical data sources stopped giving those results, how can we use foot traffic data? How can we use additional data to really make those lending decisions? Lead scoring is a use case that a lot of our customers are using. And again, claims fraud, whether it is on the insurance side, uh, and then default risk for a small business loans. We talked about that use case, and then promotional scheduling, whether it is on the direct mail optimization or even the ad spends across various online advertisement platforms. So those are the kind of use cases, sample use cases that you can think of. But the use cases are limitless, right? I mean, it is only limited by your imagination, that how you can use all this data as well as your models to optimize basically any part of your business. So that was a really quick overview of the whole idea around external data, the pain points that we see out there, and what is the way to really think about external data, and how an end-to-end external data platform can really help you bring those right business outcomes that you are looking for. So as I mentioned, that these slides will be available to you. You can click through and get to those reports as well. I would highly recommend to read this particular report, uh, Explorium 2021 State of External Data Acquisition. So that will give you more insights about the findings that some of them which I shared today. And we do also have a free trial available on our website. So go ahead and subscribe to that free trial. Explore the data from the data gallery. You will see a couple of components there, a Signal Studio if you just want to do enrichments for your analytics. And then there is a ML engine as well, where you can really bring your data and see how the automated feature selection and feature generation happens and how it can impact your model. So you can play with that with the platform in real time. So I would highly recommend to try the product as well. So that is available. So that kind of brings me to the end of my session. I have like maybe three and a half, 4 minutes remaining. So I will hand it back to Steve Carmen, who is helping me producing this session. Steve, do we have any questions that we want to address in last 3 minutes?
Yes, sir. Fantastic job, Ajay. You've got several
Thank you.
questions here. We'll try to get
Okay.
through them as quickly as we can. What types of data does Explorium offer?
Sure. I think I touched upon some of those. So we provide public data, and then data from premier sources, where we partnership with various premier data providers and bring that data in, as well as proprietary data, which is the data that we kind of like build or design for our customers as well, which could be a derivative from various other data sources, or that we put together. And these data kind of signals or data types range from like consumer data, company data, it could be foot traffic data, it could be firmographics, technographics data, or even like geographic data, census data. So all those type of data is kind of like available as part of the platform, even like time series data kind of a thing, where you can see like median incomes over time, or like or those kind of attributes that you can easily find from that data gallery. So those are like typical type of data sources that you can see. And if you kind of like do the free trial and log into the platform, you can explore more around those data types and data sources.
Excellent. Another question is, does
Mhm.
Explorium only support machine learning use cases?
That's an interesting question. No, absolutely not. So Explorium is a quite a versatile platform, right? Yes, you can kind of like use it to improve your ML models, right? You can bring in your training data set and say that, okay, this is the target value, and the system will go out and find new features and prioritize those features and give you that what would be the uplift in that model. But that is not the only use case. So if you have like use cases around enriching the data sets based on your on or for your business analysis, right? That I have a data set of like home improvement stores in this particular zip code, and I want to add foot traffic data. I want to add the data about their domain registrations. I want to add data about their ratings or reviews. You can do that and take that data to your analytics platform, for example. So you can use it for known ML use cases as well. And pretty interestingly, we added another capability recently, which is called as starters, right? So you don't even have to bring your own data set. You can just start fresh that I want to do analysis on home improvement stores in California, and we will give you the initial data set. So these are the stores, these are the locations, these are the addresses, these are the long lats for that. And then you start building your data sets for your analytics. You can just start from zero as well. So we cover all those use cases.
Great. One last one. We got about
Mhm.
a minute left. Is Explorum available on the cloud?
Yes, yes. So it is a cloud native platform, and so the advantages to that is that there is no setup. You register and or you acquire the platform, and it is ready right away. So you can start using the data, start using the capabilities in the first minute itself, right? And then we are improving the platform on like a regular basis. So you will see that newer and newer capabilities are coming to the platform on like a daily or weekly basis. We are updating our data catalogs. We are adding new data sources. We are adding new data signals. So being on a cloud native platform gives us an advantage, or gives you the advantage, that everything is always current and all our customers are on the latest platform, and it is continuously improved, and you can take benefit of those improvements at all the time. So it is all cloud native platform.
Great, thank you. And we're at time, Ajay. Just once again, want to say thank you for everyone for being in attendance today. Thank you, Ajay. This was fantastic. We'll be sending out a link to the recording, plus a couple of the other links that Ajay had mentioned, the free trial, our recent survey, research survey, and a couple other things as well. Ajay, thank you once again.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining today, and talk to you soon. Take care.